How's my audio? Let me know. Audio was good. Excellent, excellent. Sorry I'm a little late. Shower, shaving, getting something to drink took a little longer than I thought. Maybe I experienced a time dilation. I don't know. But I am ready to get this show on the road. I have entirely too many devices and things all around me. Well, it looks like you guys got started on the chat pretty good. An Archaix coffee mug. That's a good one. That's a good one. I do have one around here somewhere. Told you guys you're going to hear some really new stuff today, and I meant that. We're going to ease into it. I need to watch Westworld. A lot of you keep mentioning that. A lot of you keep mentioning that. My audio should be much clearer now. All right, let's see. So high. I don't know if my moderator's in here. I saw her in the chat and tried to send her a message yesterday. We'll see. 415 people. That's pretty good. 229 likes. Thank you, guys. Hadn't even got started yet. And I'm late. Excellent. Hey, Square Peg. Awesome. Awesome. A Course in Miracles. A great compliment to my extraordinary teachings of present. I haven't heard of A Course in Miracles. I would need the author, unless it comes up instantly. Thank you, Awaken Mind. Okay. Partial shout out. Who did I give a partial shout out to? Oh, that's right. Oversharing Show. I never can remember that name. Yeah, we'll be doing a podcast in the future. I just need to catch up. I'll be making another account pretty soon and creeping back into Facebook. Slowly catching up with everything I'm doing. My friends, this is Chronicon. Many of you have seen this. This is the first, well, actually it's like the 5th draft, but it's the first one that was typed up. It's huge. It's gigantic. This is a huge binder. This is what we're going to be looking at today. Many years ago, I designed this to be a paper computer. It is specifically designed for you to explore the world you live in, to understand that there is something very dynamic about calendars. They do a lot more. Calendrical systems do a lot more than just provide us the years when significant events occurred. They're very dynamic, they're interactive, and they're very revealing. And we can use calendars and the numbers that we find in them for predictive value. I don't know what this is. Mountain Dew Rise, Pomegranate, Blue Burst. Whew. That's got a bite to it. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to need to turn my phone off. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I provide Archaix dirt cheap. I've never provided it on Amazon because people wouldn't really be able to afford it. It's just too big. These aren't individual pages. They're front and back. Chronicons on Gumroad. You can download them as PDFs. So, and there is an editions on Gumroad too. Chronicon new editions. It has over 700 new entries. It's several people have taken the downloads to print shops, or they have their own copy machines, and they've done the notebooks like I have, but they've also added the extras, which I haven't. Mine are in other notebooks, and I'm not going to use those extras. They're not necessary right now. Those are for a more in-depth analysis. But before we get started, check out what we got going in the chat. Still don't see my moderator anywhere, but that's okay. Y'all are a pretty good crowd. I did get a new laptop. You know me, I'm a country boy. I'm gonna stick to my roots. But I got me a new laptop. I haven't even turned it on yet. It's pretty nice. But it's become necessary. It's actually become very necessary because I can't have too much going on my computer on a daily basis to also upload 300 something videos to BitChute and to Telegram. And this is exactly what I'm about to do. But I'm going to have another station set up over here that's only for that, with all my thumb drives that have all my videos compartmentalized into their playlists. They're going to be on the side. One by one, I will be uploading my videos. So in the event I ever get taken off of YouTube, which could happen, I don't know. But if I get taken off of YouTube, it doesn't matter. I have 100% of my content backed up. It may take 3, 4, 5 days, 7 days to upload all my videos onto another platform, another month to do it to a second platform. I don't know, but I'm prepared for that eventuality. So having said that, y'all quit sending me emails telling me to do this, because I'm going to do it. I will. So right now, I don't have a problem with YouTube. They did take one of my videos down. That's because I recorded from the inside of a hospital when I was very sick. And I showed the hospital paperwork, what I was diagnosed with, what they told me it was. And then I named the medicine that was given to me. I walked out that hospital. I was in ICU. I was inches away from death. I was on a breathing machine, full, absolute 100% pulmonary collapse. And this is a guy who does flagstone for a living, absolute physical condition. You wouldn't believe some of the weight that I'm used to moving. How many guys I've had to fire because they couldn't keep up. And yeah, I'm 49. All last year I was working in the heat, 48, 47, 46. 45, 44. I got out of prison when I was 43. So, but that stuff floored me. Yeah, I almost died. Anyway, I will be putting those videos on other platforms. With that laptop, I will be returning to Facebook because I have a lot of new material. I finally got it organized. Spent a week copying and scanning. Absolutely ridiculous. Did it to myself. All right, without further ado, you guys know I don't do the call outs. We're going to be doing a lot of these lives. Every single one of these lives, when I'm doing a live about Chronicon and what we're going to find today, it will be followed up with an upload that has visuals and shows everything that I discuss in this video. So don't think you have to follow up. You have to get your own Chronicons out and on your devices and try to find out. You don't need to do that. That's not what this is about. I'm going to educate you in many videos how to use this book, how to use this material. And you're going to understand really quickly why I have always told you guys it's imperative. My YouTube channel is not imperative to me. It is just a means by which I can get out the message. And the message is Chronicon. I have to finish this project. This is only half complete. So it was complete when it was done, but I never stopped researching. This was finished almost 12, 13 years ago. And actually the final entry is 2012. So I'm not really trying to affix a lot of importance to all my other research. It's very interesting, and it all came by way of doing this. 100% of the content on my channel came because I have been immersed into this project for over 20 years now. This is what I have been doing. But this is the very first video that I've ever come out with that actually shows you the value of this text, what it's designed for. So thank you guys. Seeing a lot of recognizable names. I'm getting to know a lot of your names now. I haunt the comment threads every single day. That's what I do. And I do it while I'm drinking coffee. Might start drinking this blueberry stuff. So, let's look. I'll be answering questions a little later. This might be a long presentation. Not really worried about answering questions right now. But we're going to start real quick with an event in history that I am fairly positive 99.9% of you listening to my voice in the future have never heard of. However, it's an event that the establishment thought well to scrub from the history books for whatever reason. Our learned predecessor, my hero, Charles Fort, found it in a scientific report. But by that time, it had already been purged from all the other books and literature reports. He found just a singular report about it. The event happened in the year 1752. So we're going to go to 1752 in Chronicon right now. Like I said, you guys know I don't saturate you guys with sales stuff and all that. It's not anything you're interested in. I have, it's in the comment section. It's in the pinned comment. Often it's in the description box. After this video, some of y'all are going to want Chronicon. But if you're going to order Chronicon from Gumroad, you need to understand, if you really want to go in depth, there's an added section. That added section is 700 new entries. And just to show you how genuine I am in this offer, if you do go and get the Chronicon from Gumroad, which I made dirt cheap, email me that you got those. And I will send you the PDF file of the 700 new entries for free. You don't even have to order that off Gumroad. Just email me to show me. I don't care if there's 100 of you. I will for free give you that attachment. I'll just give it 700 entries that belong in here. And in your own versions, when you photocopy them and make your own notebook, you can print it up and cut each individual deal and put it where it goes. Just tape it to the page, whatever, until the final Chronicon is complete. Which I don't know. I mean, that's gonna take something. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm really ready to start it, but it's like so many things are getting in my way. I am full-time Archaix now. I am no longer in charge of Paradise Rock Gardens. This is what I do every day. So I'm making more time to do things. But these videos are necessary. Chronicon, I've got to show you what this book is really about. Because you've already seen a lot of the content in the Anunna Files videos. You've already seen it in the Phoenix Phenomenon videos. Many of my chronological videos and studies, all that material is in here. This is an abbreviated, I say abbreviated, it's this big, but this is abbreviated to its lowest common denominators, all this historical record, history as we know it, not as you're taught by collegiate sources, not in the textbooks. This is the history that I have found and put together from all these ancient, old, and more contemporary books and reports that commiserate with each other. The chronology works. It fits together perfectly. I have removed the BS. So, without further ado, this is huge, and I have to turn several pages to get where I'm going. I can't just flip to it. It won't let me. It's just too big. 3-ring binder's got some weird. I've never seen one like this before. It's got a ramp. It's not actually a binder that's fully round. Then again, you know, I was away for a long period of time, so they've come out with all kinds of new things. All right. Still doing an audio check. Make sure this new mic's working pretty good. Just give me a heads up on the bottom of the chat. Say, yes, Jason, we hear you. You're running your mouth. Let's get to 1752 and start this off. Show y'all what I'm talking about. Sounds good. Thank you. Wow. Take forever to get here. All right. The year 1752, because I'm about to give you an exploration of the holography of our history through the medium of calendar systems. I'm going to go ahead and enumerate for you what happened in each year that I'm talking about, not just the event that I'm discussing, but the other events as well. And the reason I'm going to do this is because the further we go deeper into this research, the more you're going to realize that history is holographic and the same themes come up in different time periods and different years, but on the same calendars and on the same years of those calendars. And that phi and pi, we're talking about 1.618, the golden proportion represented by the Fibonacci series, and pi 3.1416 is everywhere encoded within the holography. All the calendars of the ancient and modern world follow these proportions, and it shouldn't be this way, but it is. I'm going to reveal all this as we go along. Some more blueberry. Okay. Fire in the hole, huh? That's good. Wow, 1739 likes and only got 794 people watching? How did that happen? Okay. Now, I'm going to have to tell you guys, you're listening to someone who failed math in school. I was fascinated with history and government, but when it came to arithmetic, I couldn't follow. I'm not an audible learner. In every classroom I sat in and I had to listen to my teacher, within 60 seconds, I was somewhere else. My mind wanders. I just can't. But in prison, I discovered that I had a knack for arithmetic and for applied mathematics, not just general arithmetic, but applied, being able to apply it to all kinds of systems of analysis. This came because I was doing it with a calculator and looking at the material that I was analyzing, not because anybody was telling me. I'm not an audible learner. When other people are in my presence, even when I'm listening to videos, it often switches over to want. My mind shuts it off. For some reason, I have blockage. I don't know why, but the information that I have absorbed through my past isn't because I listened to anybody else. It's because I went into the books and I did the homework and I'm like Franz Boas said in the 1880s. If you record enough facts, the answers will fall to you like ripe fruit. And that's what I did. Just data points. So many thousands of data points that they naturally put themselves into their own data sets. That's what Chronicon's showing us. 1752. Now, I don't know what I do with my calculator. I've got two different calculators. I use my phone. I would use my phone. Just for a frame of reference, 1752 was exactly 270 years ago. So, that's a long time ago. But it was 100 years ago that Charles Fort had this information. The year 1752, on April 15th, over Europe, mainly seen over Norway, the sky filled up with what is described as an octagonal star. A gigantic star filled the sky, but it wasn't spherical. It had sharp angles. It's described by the people who observed it over Norway as octagonal. Now, while this was in the sky over Europe, principally Norway, great balls of fire fell to the earth that were observed by many people. And a streak of light went across the sky, but not like a meteor, not fast like a fallen star, like we're told a meteorite. So this is the event taken in and of itself. we can do what scientists do. We can put it into a geophysical journal, an astrophysical journal, and forget it. We can do the exact same science does. Or we can apply my method and we can explore its chronometry. This is what Chronicon is about. It is not a book, it's a tool. So I apply everything you need in each section. When you look up 1752 in Chronicon, this is what you read. When this octagonal star appeared and these fireballs fell from the sky 270 years ago over Europe, this was exactly 3,600 years from the year 1849 BC. This is 600 times 6. For those of you, I'm not going to recap all my research in the past. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to catch up. 600 years is an Anunnaki Nur period. It is one of the great years of the old world. 1849 BC was when the Indus Valley Sumerian and Akkadian cultures, Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim in the Bible, were all obliterated from the sky with fiery incendiary some type of fallout. It is mentioned. This is one thing that Zechariah Sitchin got right. He got the date wrong, and I explained this in many of my videos, but the descriptions from the Near Eastern texts about the fallout that destroyed Mohenjo, Harappa, Larak, all the Akkadian cities, ruined their culture, allowing Assyria and Babylon to emerge, and the Heights of Mitanni, and then what destroyed Sumerian cities, and the fallout recorded in Genesis when Abram and Sarah were alive and Lot escaped, but his wife turned around and looked at what was happening to her friends, and she was mineralized instantly. Yes, that was 1849 BC. 1849 BC is the year 2046 of the old world's calendar. This is the first sync. We're going to be discussing many of them in this video. You already know what's going to happen in 2046 of our calendar. So now, in this year of 1752, for context, this was the exact year that we're told by the Freemason Society that Benjamin Franklin discovered that lightning was electricity. This is also the exact year that the Liberty Bell in the United States was forged. It is also the exact year the Liberty Bell cracked. Now remember, our study is calendars, so we're not surprised that the year that this artificial superconstruction, an octagonal star, appeared in the skies over Europe, 1752, in the month of April on the 15th. In this exact year, the Gregorian calendar. Listen to this. In this year, Great Britain finally adopted the Gregorian calendar. Here's a reference to another calendrical system. Implemented by Pope Gregory the 13th, and decreed that the calendrical system would also be adopted by the 13 colonies of the Americas. Now, in this year, September 2nd thus became September 14th. Here is another reference to an alteration of a calendar. Were designated OS. I believe I've discussed this in one of my videos, because there are a lot of the old books that I have read that have the OS designator next to AD, and the reason is the Anno Domini system isn't fluid because of this. And OS designated, this was the Anno Domini year in the old style system prior to the elimination of 12 days. Now, Charles Fort recorded the 1752 event of the superconstruction, and Charles Fort concluded that. Fort mentions over and over in his 4 books that he personally believed that there were vast hidden superconstructions in our skies, induced phenomena on Earth, which is exactly my take. I hear also, I'm hearing also from some of my subscribers that it's also the belief of FPV Angel and all that. And those guys seem to be onto something. I don't really know. I haven't reviewed their material. I did see some evidence that they're not really too keen to me, and that's okay. That's okay. Believe me, I'm not out to make friends. I'm not out to make enemies either. But I do believe they may be onto something if their research is as what my subscribers are telling me. So I don't know. I just don't have time to review everybody's material. I think what I saw was a thread where I think somebody who listens to me really tickles guys off because he was taking them out of their element. They were trying to make a point, and he just kept on mentioning Archaix. I wish you guys wouldn't do that. Because the thread that I read looked like they didn't personally attack me at all. They were really frustrated with the fact that this guy just kept needling them with Archaix says this, Archaix says that. That's rude. You don't go on somebody else's platform and be belligerent like that. Don't draw any attention to me like that, because I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna block you I'm gonna hide you from channel when you come do it to me. So I would expect that other people protect their channels as well. So I'm not mad at those guys at all. And if they believe in super constructions hidden in the sky and underground, then Archaix research definitely supports what their position is. I just don't have time to really review it. Now, 1752, guys, this is just the beginning of this analysis. We're going to go much deeper. But already, we have isolated one single year, 1752, where something very unusual appeared in the sky. It's related to another event in the ancient past where something very unusual appeared in the sky, and the fallout destroyed whole civilizations. And it's recorded in the book of Genesis. Sodom and Gomorrah, an event that refers to another calendar, because 1849 BC, as I've shown you many times in all my charts and calculations, isn't anything I made up. I show you exactly how it was dated and how other chronologists came up with that date, 1849 BC, not me. And they also show that 1849 BC was the year 2046 Annus Mundi, the old world calendar. I'm not making any of this up. This isn't even my material, and in my videos and in my published books, I cite the sources, who dated these events and how they got those events. It's mind-boggling. We're just now beginning to explore this chronometry. It's going to get deep. This was 1752. But we're not done with 1752. We're going to come back to it in a minute. It's the thread of 1849 BC, because 1752 is linking us in the Anunnaki Ner calendar of 600-year periods to go 600 years times 6 all the way back through history to 1849 BC. Now, for those of you who are trying to do really in-depth studies, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. If you were to create a chart and show what happened on each one of those 600-year NERs, it would add more details to the picture we're building, because that's what we're doing right now. We are building a picture of 1752, what happened that year, because everything that it's linked to in the holography through calendrical systems will tell you basically what exactly happened and how to use that event for predictive value, when something like that will occur again. And we've already seen it. It's 2046. So let's go back, because in my Chronicon notes, for those of you looking at your Chronicons right now, 1752 is the year 5646 Annus Mundi. This is an unbroken timeline. We don't go by AD and BC. I give you guys the AD dates, Anno Domini, and I give you guys the BCE dates, before Common Era. I give you those dates all the time, but that is not how I do my calculations, because there's manipulation in that calendar. It's not unbroken. There is a break. It was designed by the Roman Catholic Church. The true AD calendar did not begin until after the Great Phoenix Reset of 522 AD, which was under the Roman Julian calendar a totally different year because the AD system did not begin yet. But I'm entertaining attention. I have a whole video explaining the great Justinian deception, all this huge disaster that was misdated on purpose to hide what the Roman Catholic records admit was the Phoenix chronology of 552-year Phoenix cycles, which is 138 times 4. Many of you know 138. I don't have to beat you up at that. So, look at some of my chat here. Make sure you guys are listening to me and not all just having a party. I'm sorry, man. Some of you guys, Marakita? Is that your name? Marakita? Marakita? I'm sorry for some of you new guys. You're just going to have to bear with me. These Chronicon videos, my live Chronicon videos are going to be many, but they're for my subscribers that know what I'm talking about because they've been here for a while. You just have to catch up. And you can always catch up by going back into listening to my older uploads, not my podcasts. My podcasts are informational. My uploads are data dumps. This is where the core material is at. This is where the visuals are for you to understand how all these calendars were developed, what the themes attached to them were, and what they mean for us in the future. What I'm doing now is something totally different. So, without further ado, the event of 1752 links us to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, the destruction of Sumer, the destruction of Akkad and Mohenjo-Daro and the Indus Valley Harappan civilization. All that was 1849 BC. But if you look in the Chronicon section, you will find out that this was exactly 3,990 years after the Great Flood, the collapse of the vapor canopy, the day the sky fell. So, but 3,390 is not a significant number in any patterning system. And that's why I do not have it underlined. Pay attention. In Chronicon, when you see countdowns from certain major events in history, if they're not underlined, they're just there for general reference. So you have an idea. Oh, okay, this great octagonal star appeared over Europe, and these fireballs fell from the sky, and this streak just cut the sky in half 3,990 years after the Great Flood. It's just a frame of reference. But the next one is 1,488 years of the Coptic calendar, but it's underlined. I underline 1488 Coptic calendar. You need to pay attention to that when you do your own researches on Chronicon, because this tells you what you need to do. I'm going to give you an example of that right now. 1488 Coptic calendar means 1,488 years before 1752. Okay, I'm going to show you. 1488 minus, I think it's 264. Okay, 264. This means AD 264. In the year Anno Domini 264, we have the beginning of the Egyptian Christian Coptic calendar. Why is 1488 significant? Because it's 744 plus 744. And 744 is a very unique number. It's in the golden proportion. It's one of the unique golden proportion that don't fit on the multiples of 72, the precessional cycle, when it comes to the golden mean, the Fibonacci cycle. So the Fibonacci series, in the golden proportion, 744 is a major number. You got to understand, there's only a few numbers in the golden proportion that even matter. It might be 19 numbers before you get to like the number 6,000, and then it doesn't even matter. So it's a golden proportion numbers are very, very interesting. These are like the formative numbers in all of physics. So we have two periods of 744 years attached to the octagonal star that appeared in the sky over Norway. We go back to 264 now, the beginning of the Coptic calendar. Oh, this book is huge. All right, let's see what it says here, because it's been years since I even looked at 264. 264, all right. Now, okay, Calendars within calendars within calendars, my friends. This is not me making any of this up. 264. Emperor Constantine divides the Roman Empire into the eastern and western political divisions. Now, this is according to biblical prophecy in the book of Daniel. This is supposed to be a fulfillment. Now, this is all very interesting. But this is the beginning of the Christian Coptic calendar in Alexandria, Egypt, which commemorated Emperor Diocletian's persecution of Christians. That's the killing of people. Remember, Sodom and Gomorrah was the killing of people. At this is the start of a new calendar. We find it connected to by the golden proportion number to another calendar. 4 is actually connected by the golden proportion, the prime number of physics, the number being 576 years later. This is a 44 times 4, or 72 times 8. 72 is the great processional number. So, these are golden proportion numbers, which are not the norm. Most numbers in existence are not golden proportion numbers. There's only a small minority of them, but we keep coming across them every time we find that these calendars suddenly appeared in history. So, here is the Seleucid calendar, 507. That's really interesting. Okay, now, 264, the beginning of the Christian Coptic Egyptian calendar in 264. If my chronicon is correct, the beginning of this calendar began a 1776-year countdown to basically the end of a government that uses Egyptian symbols. That is 2040. This is 1776 years after the start of the Coptic calendar. This means Freemasonry has ancient roots to Egypt, always has. It was the Freemason project that began the 1776 independence movement of the United States from the crown. The number 1776 applies to ancient systems and ancient civilizations that are in the process of or have already left the East and moved west. I have documented many instances of 1776 countdowns. Here's the humdinger though. Again, we have a disguised golden proportion number. 1776 is 444 times 4. So 1776 is a golden proportion number. So we have, and when I say Egypt, I'm not talking about the Egyptian civilization that you're familiar with. The Seleucid calendar and the Egyptian Coptic calendar, these were Greek. These were Macedonian. These were a huge population of Europeans moved into northern Africa, and they occupied all of northern Egypt, all of northern Libya, Mauritania, Morocco, all these areas before they were ousted by the Romans in the Carthaginian Wars, and later in when the Romans attacked Mauritania. I don't know if any of you that's probably not familiar. I need to do a video on King Juba II and his war against Rome. But he was of the kingdom of Mauritania in northern Egypt. I mean northern Africa in the Mediterranean. So what we have here is yet another reference to a calendar, 1776, Anno Domini, the beginning of the United States of America. But right here in the holography, we're shown the end. And in my book, When the Sun Darkens, I didn't even use this data. I used other data to show that the government of the United States of America will end in 2040, in the month of May. It is the Phoenix phenomenon. This is exactly what we just saw in this holography. Remember, I say this all the time. If something is true, it will be seen from multiple different mathematical vantage points. I'm always saying that. So we have, what we got here? All right, Christine, I will send me an email. I know you got my email. Buckley, Pamela, yeah, I probably do need help. Anyway, if something is going to happen, it's going to be seen from multiple different vantage points. We started this with 1752, and we haven't even left 1752. We're still exploring it. But we've already attached it to other years in history where significance happened that were kind of related, and yet they're all connected by calendars. I mean, what are the probabilities here? If we were to, that every event that we've come across actually began or was connected to a calendrical system, not just a year in a calendar, they don't mean anything, but the start dates of calendars or the end date of something that happened in a calendar. So this is what we get from 264. We get the reference to the Seleucid calendar, which is 576 years in the past. It's a Greek calendar. When Egypt in North Africa was occupied by mainly Greeks led by a Macedonian dynasty. 576 is golden proportion. It begs us to go look at the Seleucid calendar. So let's go look at it. It's really easy how to do this. So in Chronicon, it says 264 AD is 576 years after the Seleucid calendar began. So it's a real simple deal. Since 264 is the year 4158 Annus Mundi, which is right there next to it, anybody can see this and do what I'm doing. This is how we do it. We take the calculator and we put 4851 on there, which is the Annus Mundi year for 264 AD. And we just subtract 576 years. Because when we do that, we get 3582 Annus Mundi. That's a BC date. But which BC date is, we'll know when we look up 3582. So I'm going to go look up 3582 in Chronicon right now and tell you what it is. Okay. Getting warmer. Getting warmer. Man, it's way back here. 3582. Wow. Imagine that. Guys, even I get overwhelmed sometimes by the material. Putting it all together doesn't mean I knew it all at one time. It is a process of discovery. This right here is fascinating. It's fascinating. 3582 is the year 313 BC. 313 BC is also a part of our calendrical holography. It is not an arbitrary year in world history. It is absolutely connected to this framework of calendars that confine us. This is amazing. 313 BC is year one of the Greek Seleucid calendar. It is the 2800th year. That's 2800. It is 2,800 years of the Mayan long count. That's a round number. It's divisible by 7. It is the year 618 of the divided kingdom. 618, 1.618, 0.618 are the exact same number in different dimensions of arithmetic. They are the principal prime number of the golden proportion. 618 is Phi. The divided kingdom is when the Israelites and the Jews of the southern kingdom of Judah split and divided. They were no longer under a unified government because it never lasted anyway. They were always fighting each other. For those of you who don't know, there is a vast racial and cultural difference between Israelites and Jews. They have never been the same people. 618, divided kingdom. That's amazing. Wow. This is the 440th year of Rome. Rome was established in 753 BC. This is remember, this is another reference to like a golden proportion fractal. It's 44. 44 times 10. Now, this is the 432nd year of the post-exilic chronology. This too attaches to Israel. 432 is 144 times 3. That means this calendar too is connected by the golden proportion. This is the 400th year. I have it down as orbital alteration, but you guys don't know it as that. This is the 400th year since the year was changed in the holography from 360 days a year to 365.25 days a year. That happened in the year 713 BC and is mentioned by a whole host of ancient authors that I cite in my books, Anunnaki Homeworld, and in my videos in the Anunna files. So this one year, 313 BC, has a lot going for it. It's connected to many calendars and the golden proportion. We have already defied coincidence, starting with the year 1752. Starting with the year, I'm not going to turn my AC on. Thank you, Pamela. I'm not going to. It's not that hot in here. Not like it has been in the past. But I bought a stealthed chiller, but it's not stealth. You guys can still hear really loud on the mic, so I just don't even bother anymore. It's no big. I spent 26 years in an oven. There are no air conditioners in prison. Don't worry about my little old two hours here. Listen. All right, just checking up on the chat. Making sure nobody's saying it. They can't hear me. This is my mic. It's a pretty nice little thing. Works really good. I like it. I like anything that's portable. Thank you. That's all I want to hear. Y'all can hear me really good. Now, let's continue on because we're far from done with this disclosure. So let's read some of the events that happened in the year 313 BC. And remember, this construct that I'm unveiling to you, it's all relative to each other. When calendars are identifying different years of history, it allows you to build a bigger picture of what is going on in each year because it's borrowing elements from all the other times it's connected to. So we're learning more and more about what happened in 1752. I mean, it wasn't just something appearing in the sky. What is it attached to? What mechanism connected to all these other historical events would just appear and be seen by so many people over Europe in 1752? Not an intruder planet, not a world. It is an absolute phenomenon. We can use modern frames of reference like Charles Fort did, and we might be wrong. I'm saying super construction. Just like this massive portrait of a Death Star that I have behind my computer. It's a super construction. So bizarre. So bizarre for people to even describe it as octagonal. So, yeah, let's move on. 313 BC. Connected in the holography, going in many different directions throughout the past to all kinds of calendars. This 1 year is like a nexus identifying 3 more calendrical systems going in 3 more different directions. So one of those directions is the Mayan long count. So this is 313 BC, but the Mayan long count began in 3113 BC. A palindrome, it's just the replication of a 1. 3113 is when the Mayan long count began, during the vapor canopy. The 2800th year was this year, 313. The coincidence is beyond describable because it began under the 360 count system of the draconian calendar of the vapor canopy, just like the Vedic calendar, just like the original Hebrew calendar, which is why the Hebrew calendar isn't factored correctly today. And it's just like the old Greek Hesiod calendars, Sumerian calendars, the Olmec calendar. They're all divisible by 360. But this event was 400 years after the holography in the sky changed. And now it wasn't a perfect 360 days. Now it was 365.25. So after 400 years, the Mayan long count would have been several years off. But it's not. It's on 313 BC. Very interesting. Can't make this stuff up. So, this year of and back to the Mayan long count real quick. Why is the Mayan long count significant to this study? Because I have linked the Mayan long count. I have refactored all the arithmetic and published it in a book in 2011. Booktree Press. In that book, while 200 other authors were all talking about what was going to happen in 2012, I'm the only guy that has a book published telling everybody it's not true, that this isn't going to happen. The arithmetic is wrong. In 1952, these guys did not factor in the fact that we have an immense amount of ancient authors who all say the year changed at this time, and they ignored all that data. And to ignore that data, that means the Mayan long count ended in 2012. But I didn't ignore that data. By incorporating that data, it shows me that the Mayan long count ends November 1st, 2046, the Day of the Dead. Now, this is what the Mayans are telling us. This Mayan long count ends after 13 Bactans. The number 13 has always been associated to ancient American systems, which were predicated on calendars that all used units of 13, 26, and 52, which is divisible by 13. Ancient Toltec and Maya, Quiche, and Olmec glyphs and reliefs show everything in multiples of the number 13 for a reason. These people believed they lived under the 13 heavens and that the earth was going to experience 13 ages before the total collapse of time. The collapse of time basically means time will no longer be factored the way it's always been factored. This is what we get because in 2046, which we saw is connected to 1752, this great octagonal super construction in the sky. Sodom and Gomorrah is destroyed, 1849. 1849, when all these civilizations are destroyed from the Harappan Valley, Indus Valley, Mohenjo-Daro and Larak, I've described them, the Sumerian cities. Zechariah Sitchin did a very good job showing what these ancient tablets were describing. He only misdated them. But it's the same thing we're seeing in the holography for the complete absolute destruction of the West, principally located in North America in November 1st, 2046. All this fallout is going to happen again right there. It's imprinted in the holosphere. It's unchanging. Remember, I tell you guys, you're living in two different realities. The one for the personal is the one where you don't have to regard any of this data. You don't have to worry about anything. Live your life, do what you're going to do, and the oversoul will make sure that you are protected as long as you believe you are. But as soon as you believe that opposition exists, then the simulacrum will make sure that opposition appears. In the collective mindset, which you are now joining by that fear, you're going to suffer the things I'm describing right now. The choice is entirely yours. So, in this holography, we have this Mayan long count, which ends in 2046. What do the Mayas say is going to happen? Well, they say there's going to be an invasion of demons. That's what they say in their prophecies, and I've cited these. They also say that time itself will change, it will collapse. What have I revealed in all my published materials about what's going to happen in 2046? 6.5 years after the Phoenix phenomenon, the world is going to change from 24-hour days to 16-hour days. The world is going to change from a 365.25 day year to a 240 day year. Because in the book of Revelation, it's very specific. Everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, the day, and the night, it mentions all 5 of them are going to be reduced by a third. That's 33%. That means there will be 66.6% surviving. Why? Because it also says that a 6th thing will be reduced to a third, and that's mankind. This is 2046. This is the picture we're building by looking at the holographic template that history provides us. Now, we're not done with 313. We got more here. Remember, this is not a sales pitch, guys. It's not a sales pitch. I have people that donate weekly and monthly. I'm not rich, don't have a lot of money. All my needs are taken care of. But I never go through my videos just trying to sell you stuff. I don't care. I really don't. I get a euphoric high off the information that I learn. That I can tell and show others is only added benefit. Get on my motorcycle to detox every once in a while. I got my van to drive around. Got my girlfriend keeps me company. Listen, I don't have the type of life that if I had a lot of money, it wouldn't matter, because I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm just not. So like I said, those who want to follow this type of research, I think you can get. There's 5 parts to Chronicon. I will send you the 6th for free. I don't even know. I think one's $3, one's $5, one's $6, I don't remember the prices. I made them so low in Gumroad out of appreciation. I look on Gumroad sometimes and I see people pay me $12, $20, and people leave me notes and say, "Hey man, look, I gave you $25 for Awaken the Immortal Within, man, because I know you send free stuff to people." Man, all that's beneficial. I do pass the love on to other people all the time, and I know that there is a lot of you in my thread that have emailed me, and I just throw in free stuff on. Every time somebody emails me, I'm throwing stuff into PDFs. I just do it because it doesn't cost me anything. PDFs are copy and pasted straight off my desktop straight into an email. It doesn't cost me any time. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't mind. I am excited that other people have already begun sending me emails showing me their discoveries in Chronicon. Because in putting together this immense amount of historical data with a calculator doesn't mean I've made all the mathematical connections, because I haven't. You can spend a lifetime doing what I'm doing right now and seeing these connections. All I did was basically put the material together for other people to come behind me and run with it. So basically what I'm telling you is my great reward is me being able to do this for you right now. I love it because I'm learning as I tell you. So let's move on. All right. Very interesting right here. It's in Chronicon right here for 313 BC, which is connected to 1752, the great octagonal star. We have right here, amazing. This is the 3,996th year since the Phoenix first appeared in history. Why is this significant? 3,996 is precisely 666 times 6. That's not a coincidence, my friends. Remember, this is all attached to what appeared in the sky in 1752. And remember, I've told you guys many times, my old belief system was that Phoenix was an intruder planet. I no longer believe that model. I have reached myself completely out of that paradigm. 1752, huge octagonal superconstruction appears in the sky. Okay, now, 28th year of the Mayan long count. Okay, here's something really interesting. It is kind of related, but you see these syncs everywhere in here. Okay, I told you guys about Neruas. Neruas was the ancient Achaean. Neruas was the ancient Achaean god for the god of the sea. He had daughters called the Nereids. His name is based off the Anunnaki Ner, which means the 600. And it was a reference to the original Anunnaki who first appeared among the human family. Now, he was the Achaean, the ancient Mycenaean Noah, called Neruas. He is found tucked away, barely noticeable, in the Titanomachy, which is on one of the greatest structures from the ancient world called the Parthenon. The Parthenon, I've revealed to you in my Anunna Files videos, was finished and dedicated 439 BC, which was on the 600-year system. Another coincidence, it's ancient Anunnaki calendar. But what we have here is that 313 BC was the year 1056, since the Danaan Israelites in 1369 began settling Thessaly in the Aegean. Now, I haven't really done any videos regarding this. I have two videos about from my new series called Born of Egypt. It's about the Israelites and where they all went in the world. All the historical records that follow migrations. It will blow your mind. Why Paul wrote his letters to where he wrote in the New Testament, describing the lost tribes, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So I started those two videos. I'm going to continue that series. And this will be in there because the year 1056, the Danaan Israelites in the year 1369 BC. If I look up 1369 BC in here right now, you're going to read all about a offshoot of the Israelite family from Canaan called the Danu. They left and they founded they founded a whole new Danaan substructure to ancient Mycenaean culture. Israelites basically, there was a whole merging of the Proto-Greek and these are people descended from Achaeans, descended from before the Dorians appeared, descended from the Mycenaeans and the Minoans. And those people themselves had come from the Near East anyway, 500-600 years priorly. So we have this major merging of blood in ancient Greece. These lover of olives and olive oil, and people, and all their symbols are Paleo-Hebraic. Yeah, the origin of the Greek people would blow your mind. It's all in Chronicon. Yeah, I don't know why some of y'all ain't read it, but I got it. It's totally itemized in here where all these cultures had come from. So anyway, 1056 is not an arbitrary number because ancient Israelite people migrated to Greece in 1369 BC. This was 1056 years before the Greek Seleucid calendar. Same people, different culture, began in 313 that we're discussing right now. Why is the number 1056 relevant? What does it refer to on these ancient Israelite Greek people? Noah was born in the year 2839 BC, 600 years before the Great Flood, an Anunnaki Ner period. But in the ancient Hebrew calendar, the Annus Mundi calendar, and the chronology of Chronicon and Stephen Jones in his Secrets of Time, the year 1056 was the birth of Noah, who the Greeks called Neruas after the 600. Just can't make this stuff up, my friends. Now, 313 BC is the 690th year. 690th year since the year 1003 BC. That's pretty interesting, because when you look at the year 1003 BC in the biblical chronology, we find out that that was the establishment of the throne of David. 690 is 138 times 5. Another reference to the phoenix. So we're still discussing 1752 and its holographic correlates with the rest of the calendrical systems. So we're not surprised that 313 BC, that the year 1752 took us to, is 230 years after the beginning of the Buddhist calendar in 543 BC. I didn't make that up. That's in encyclopedias. 543 BC. But why is 230 years relevant? Because it's 2760 months. 230 years is 2,760 months. And that is precisely 552 times 5. 5 Phoenix cycles. Now, the Roman Catholic Church changed the Phoenix cycle of 552 to 532 to throw off all the calendars. They implemented this after the Great Reset caused by Phoenix in 522 AD. Now, I have a video that goes into a lot of detail about this, but 552 is 138 times 4. You see how all these references that fall back to 1752, the great octagonal star, the super construction that was seen in the sky for a short period of time, are all referencing ancient calendars and the situations of those calendars, and now several associations to the Phoenix phenomenon. All right. So, and for those of you who don't know about the Seleucid calendar that took us here from 1752, those of you who don't know about the Seleucid calendar, it is an ancient Greek Syrian calendar. So they're all these calendrical systems and all these motifs that are assigned to the events of these years, they all build for us a fantastic picture of what's going on, who was involved. Yeah, it's fascinating. Every bit of this is fascinating. So let's go look. We're not done with 1752, but 1752 had us looking somewhere pretty interesting. And that place was 1849 BC, the ancient world's year of 2046. It is the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah in Genesis. Let's go look at that, see what we find. Why would that be so strongly connected in this holography to the year 1752? And why would the elite scrub it from the history records? Let's check this out. There's always answers. You just got to look for them. And you might want to get a different type of binder than me, because it's really hard to deal with this much paperwork in one binder. Might need to spread this out. Might need to spread Chronicon out between pre-flood world, which is big section, old Bronze Age, all the way to, there's just, you need to spread it out. This right here is too hard. I might change this. This is a little different. This is a little difficult here. All right. I'm just now in the 1500s BC. 1700s BC. So much interesting stuff in here. I just went on a zone for years and just recorded, calculate, record, calculate. I really need to re-go through all this. 1849 BC is huge. Fills the whole page up. And this is small typing on big pages. So, yeah, it's amazing. All right. Tom Cruise couldn't be me. Eddie Jr. Stop that. That man's like 5'3". Little bitty guy. You know what? He played Jack Reacher, and I read some of those Jack Reacher books in prison, and Jack Reacher was like 6'3", 6'4". Yeah. Can't believe that. 1849 BC. I do miss that about prison. I don't want to go back, but I do miss that every evening after a whole day full of reading and redacting, editing, research, collating intramural, writing. I spent every single day like that. You know, In the evenings, I did read fiction. That was my escape. That's what I relaxed to, and I just fell asleep reading. That's why I told you guys in prior videos about if you really want to know what the world is going to be like in most areas after the Phoenix event or the 2046 event, you've got to read William Johnstone's 24-book series, Out of the Ashes. Now, I've been told it's 36 books. I never read the last books. I wouldn't want to. The story was already petered out by the 24th book. But those books are very, very descriptive. Out of the Ashes. And what's really interesting is my favorite series of books, Out of the Ashes. Out of the Ashes is a phoenix. It's crazy. 1849 is the year 2046, Annus Mundi. Excuse me. Now, we have two interesting correlates here. One, this is 390 years after the flood, 2239 BC. 390 years. Wasn't 1752 have something to do with 390, didn't it? See, you look back at 1752, which I'm having trouble doing. Let's go like this. Okay, 1752 should be right here. It did. Okay, listen to this. This is why we know we're inside a structuring. Look at this. 1849 BC, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, the Harappan civilization, Akkad, Sumer, all that. Very well documented by Zecharia Sitchin, whom I do not like, but he did document this very good. So, the destruction of all these civilizations 390 years after the Phoenix destroyed the world in 2239 BC. Is 390 years between them. But the great octagonal star appeared 3,990 years. You see the correlate? And 1849 BC destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah was the 990th year of the Anunnaki dynasty. The beginning of the 7 kings that ruled before the flood. Their reign ended in a Phoenix cataclysm. So we have all these correlates. You find these everywhere. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. Oh, by the way, in the historical record in the Near East, those are called the lamentation texts. The lamentation texts are horrific. Zecharia Sitchin did do a good job citing them, explaining what they were describing and all that. And these are actual eyewitness accounts from the ancient world of what those people suffered. So the destruction that came from the sky was highly localized just over those cities. That is bizarre, and it betrays a technology, not a natural phenomenon. Octagonal star, anybody? Now, oh, we're not done. We're by far not done. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to 1752 because we're not done with that. I don't want to detract away from another major discovery about 1752. I'm going to have to get in. How long have I been running my mouth? An hour? Hour and 15 minutes? Okay, we're good. 2,100. How is it that I have more likes than I have listeners? That's crazy. I appreciate that, though. See the likes? 2112. That's 1056 times 2. Wow. Well, it was. Changed now. Yeah, a lot of you guys would not like to hang out with me in public. I can't sit still. The more I look around, the more I see associations, patterns. I mean, we are creatures of pattern recognition, but the man upstairs really downloaded some horrific stuff into my head because I just can't stop doing it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to see the patterns on license plates, serial numbers. If I see your VIN numbers, I'm going to see the patterns. It's crazy. All right, we're going back to 1752 to reveal some even more stuff. Because that's what this is about. So we have several references here to the Great Flood. Many of the associations of the things that 1752 pointed us toward in all these different, like 9 different calendars now, is the Great Flood. It keeps coming up. So the Great Flood, as many of you know, was caused by the Phoenix. The year of the Great Flood was 1656 Annus Mundi. Many Jewish rabbinical old Hebrew texts all confirm that. They all say the Great Flood was the year 1656. And when you add up all the patriarchs, the 10 patriarchs in Genesis, and many biblical chronologists have shown this in their Bible commentaries and all that, it adds up. The life deaths add up to 1656. So now, so us to look at 1656. So if, as I've shown, that 2046 of the old world's calendar was the destruction of all these civilizations from something that all out. Please wait till we try connecting. Hold on. You guys hear me? There was a pause of about 2 seconds on my thread. You guys hear me? I need some confirmation that you guys can hear me, because my screen went out for 2 seconds. Come on, Texas Internet, you can do it. Okay, so remember, I tell you guys all the time, if something is true in the particular, it's going to be true in the whole as well. So if 2046 of the old world's calendar shows us a massive destruction, then 2046 of other calendars is going to show us something similar. And I've already spent 2 published books and a whole playlist showing you that 2046 of the future is the end of the Mayan long count. It is the second judgment of the revelation. It is wormwood. It is the return of the blue kachina, and the blue kachina Hopi prophecies perfectly describe a super construction that falls from the sky. It is inhabited. Now, this is Nemesis X object. Now, because we have these correlates, then it necessarily implies that 1656 years Annus Mundi of the old world's calendar must have further associations in the holography to our calendar as well, the Anno Domini. If the Anno Domini calendar is supernatural, my friends, that's how all these systems line up like this. Couldn't have been done by man intentionally. Man was influenced, like it was many times. Or history, this holographic history never happened. We are given all of this to study so we can know our future, but these pasts never really truly unfolded. They're mathematically too precise. But this is just the beginning. I'm going to let you conclude this on your own. I'm going to let you decide what you believe is true. I'm just going to show you the material. 1656 Annus Mundi, 1656 Anno Domini. Let's look and see what it says. 1656. 1656. Where are you at? 1656. Okay. The year 1656, Annus Mundi, was the year 500 and, well, no, it was the year 5,550 Annus Mundi. Interesting. But 1656 Annus Mundi is 3,894 years after the flood. Where have y'all heard that number before? 3895. Remember, the flood was a year anyway. So 3895 BC was the great Phoenix reset that created a new heavens and a new earth. 3895 BC is one of the principal measurements found in the rectilinear geometry of the Great Pyramid, which I have shown many times. 3895 was year 1 Annus Mundi, 1 of the vapor canopy world. It is year 1 of the Genesis pre-flood world. So that's pretty interesting that we find that here. Really interesting. But what happened in 1656 AD that's relevant to what we're discussing? Let me show you. Okay, first, Edmund Halley was born in this year. For those of you who don't know, he became famous because he believes he found a cycle of comets that appear every 76.5 years or so, although it's really not true. Halley's Comet has not appeared in perfect periodicity, and a lot of those numbers have been fudged, and other researchers have shown this. But he was born in this year, a Freemason, I think. Now, he predicted its return with accuracy, and it did return in the year 1758. But the real thing that happened in this year was the death of Archbishop James Ussher, Christian chronologist who dated all the events of the history of the world all the way to Armageddon. Ussher's chronology became the core chronological material in millions of Bibles around the world for a couple hundred years. That's pretty important. He died 1656 Anno Domini, the same year that most of the world's population died in 1656 Annus Mundi, the Great Flood. Ussher's principal research concerned the Great Flood. Now, this is all. I mean, it's all very interesting that to find that one of the greatest chronologists that have been known in history had researched the Great Flood and dated it 1656 Annus Mundi. Yes, year of the world. Ussher used that dating system. Archbishop James Ussher also dated the Great Ogygian Deluge, which was caused by the Phoenix in 1687 BC. Ussher dated it 2208 in the year of the world. That is dead accurate because 1687 BC Phoenix Cataclysm, the Ogygian Deluge, was 2208 Annus Mundi. He was 100% accurate using a totally different system. So yes, that's all fascinating as hell. So we have in the holography over and over connections to the flood, connections to all these ancient calendars, and those calendars are connected to the flood. And this patterning is all connected to the year 1752 AD, this great octagonal star. I'm going to take the difference between 1752 and 1656. Maybe I totally lost my train of thought. I had a note here about 1752 that's not in here. Don't know what I did with it. But I'm telling you now, I'm going to find it because it's all in the numbers. Okay. All right, we're going to go. I'm going to show you something really interesting now. Because it's connected to 1656. It's connected to the Great Flood, the Phoenix. It's connected to all this. It's connected to 1752, this great weird thing that happened in the sky. Because we have these little singular events that don't make sense, but they're all mathematically connected. This little event is weird. The year was 1847. Now I'm going to do some videos on the 1800s. Believe that. You got those coming. But this event, 1847, believe me, you can't make this stuff up. But in 1847, we have, not only was the first iron building constructed, an architectural engineering feat that would soon develop into skyscrapers. This is the first time this happened. But on December 8th, over Arkansas, northern hemisphere again. This is North America this time. The entire sky over Arkansas suddenly went black. The clouds that are described by the eyewitnesses are not normal. They were very specific that these are strange clouds. Inside those clouds was a reddish glow. A massive detonation was heard in the sky. After several minutes, a rock fell from the sky, made an 8-foot deep hole, and the people went to go investigate it. Within minutes of that rock hitting the ground, the entire sky cleared and the strange clouds were gone. This was in 1847, December 8th, over Arkansas. We can take that, with a grain of salt and say, okay, it's a highly localized event, but we have hundreds of highly exhibit the same phenomena that are not on the 138-year Phoenix timeline. But the Phoenix timeline involves much larger, but these little highly localized ones, they keep popping up in the historical record. So 1847, I would like to connect that to another event that I think it might be related to. So I'm going to choose 1752. Let's see if there are any correlates. Let's do the math. 1752 minus 1847. It's going to pull up for me basically 95 years. My problem is this is in late. This is super late in the year. So I'm going to put 95.5. 95.5 years. The event in 1752 is the month of April. It's like the middle of the year. So they're 95.5 years apart. Not a sum that would really just jump off the page with me. From 1752 to 1847. Now, there's nothing mysterious about that. But if I was to take that same 95.5 years that separate the November event of 1847 to the April event of 1752, and I take that same 95.5 years and go further back in history, I land directly in the year 1656. So what it tells me is that this year of 1752, of the great octagonal super construction that appeared in the sky, for whatever reason, because I don't believe it was intended to be seen, but it appeared and it was seen and it was documented. It is isometrically connected. It's the isometric epicentral date year between two other events in the holography that are connected conceptually to it. 95.5 years in the past, 95.5 years in the future, and in all the holography that I've just shown you, all the associations, they're all too mathematically perfect. They're all well knit together. But this was merely one single year in history that I just divulged to you. 1752. Most of you have never heard of what happened over Europe when the great octagonal star appeared. And there's reasons for that. One, we don't have frames of reference for that, so it's easily forgotten. It's put away. Superstition of the time 270 years ago would have dictated people would have talked it out. They would have talked themselves out of believing it happened. They would have told their children and their children's children variant stories about what happened. They would have changed the narrative. Those who were alive at the time that recorded the events, their records have been lost and destroyed. Charles Fort didn't find a lot about the event, but he found enough to record it for us. If it wasn't for Charles Fort, who is hated by the scientific community, we wouldn't even have this record. But because we have this record, and Jason just showed you how it's connected in the holography all throughout these calendars, we know it's true. We know it's happened. Mathematically, it's present. It makes mathematical sense as you align it with all the events in the history that it's connected to calendrically. This is merely one example of hundreds that I'm going to provide, showing you how you can use Chronicon to really understand what an event really is by identifying its correlates. And to identify its correlates, you just follow the mathematics. I provide the key notes. They're all in here. You can take any date in history and just start building, start following it, and it's going to let you know more details about what happened. We don't necessarily need total accurate historical descriptions. We basically need common denominators, and from those denominators we can build the pictures ourselves, because everything is connected in a hologram. Once you accept that we're inside of this construct, all of this will make sense to you. This Chronicon is designed for you to teach yourself. You don't need me. I'm just showing you how to use it. This is my life project that I've told you guys many times that I have to finish before 2040 so I can distribute this book in steel cases all around the world, because I'm not writing for a present generation. I have not amassed all this data for people today. But I'm not going to deny the curious. If people want to subscribe to my channel and learn these things, they're more than welcome to. But my mission in life is for those after May 2040, that they have a point of reference they can rely on, and they don't have to go by any of the false information that's going to be unveiled after that point. When the reset of May 15th, 16th, 2040 happens, believe me, the engine of censorship is going to go into overdrive. So I am basically just providing people a fighting chance after that event to have all the necessary documents to know where they're at in the timeline, because there's still 60 more years of history that will unfold after May 2040, and we're going to get into that too. I'm going to be releasing a lot of stuff about that too in Archaix 2.0. But for now, for all intents and purposes, in this video, that's all we're going to discuss, because the upload that concerns this is going to have more data, and I can't just keep going back and forth, because then I'll never get the upload done. It'll be just too much. But we'll keep these little lessons as short and to the point as possible. But you just heard me give a dissertation on how the holography works and how you can use Chronicon to do that. But truth be told, if you want to see the particulars, the resources, the source materials for this data, then just wait for the upload, because it's coming soon. Before I do my next live in the next couple of days, I will have the upload on this put on my channel, just like my old uploads that are data dumps that have a lot of stuff, some visuals and all that. This is my very first Chronicon video, so I just wanted it to be as such as possible. So I'm going to close this book, and I'm going to open the floor to Q&A after I get me a drink. Even closing this book is a chore. I can't grab but a few pages at a time because this 3-ring binder. Let's see. I just saw Atlantis Rising. Thank you, Victoria. I just saw Atlantis Rising podcast. When I was in prison, I used to read a magazine called Atlantis Rising. I read every single issue. As a matter of fact, for those of you interested, Booktree in San Diego has back issues. They sell back issues for like $3 a copy of the old Atlantis Rising magazines. They don't even have magazines today like that. Everything's online. But Atlantis Rising, fantastic. Discusses many of the things that I discuss. All the old archaeological things that have been found, old books. Atlantis Rising is not a magazine published anymore, but you can call 1-800-700-TREE. That's Booktree, and ask them for back issues of Atlantis Rising and Paranoia Magazine. I've been published in Paranoia Magazine about the Phoenix, but those are really good magazines, man. They don't have things like people don't publish that stuff no more. It's not cost effective to have a paper periodical anymore. But he still has back copies. I read them all. All right, let me get this out the way. Woo! That, my friends, is Chronicon. If you're interested in this type of research, you want to follow me in future videos, you want to follow me do this, just get Chronicon. It's cheap as hell. And like I said, my gift to you is if you order Chronicon, don't even buy. I think I charge $3, $4, $5. I don't know what the price is, but don't even buy the 6th PDF, because Chronicon's in 5 sections. One is the pre-flood world. One is post-flood antiquity. One is the ancient world, classical antiquity. Then there's the dark and middle ages. Then there's modern history, which is the 500 years. So Chronicon is huge, goes into great depth. If you want to follow me in these videos, then go ahead and get a copy, print it up, or just follow on your device with PDF files, whatever. But my gift to you is that if you order it, just send me an email, and I will drop you the PDF to the new editions, which are not in here. 700 independent entries that add a lot of data to this, but I just haven't put it in there yet. It's not in there. Anyway, Phoenix Protocol. Somebody has a name called Phoenix Protocol. Wow. What's the next big thing you see happening between now and 2040? Rocks out of the sky, things like that. Nope, I don't see that at all. I've gone into some videos. Let's wait for my next predictions video, because that's coming pretty fast too. But a false apocalypse is on board. But listen, when it comes to predictions, you have to understand our world has always been very, very and compartmentalized. And what I mean is as you guys are listening to my voice, many of you have pretty good lives, pretty good incomes. Things are going well for you, and yet you buy into the fear mongering, thinking there might be a threat a couple months from now, threatening your family and all that. While we're in the fear mindset, we're not realizing that there's over 1 billion people who don't even know if they're going to eat tomorrow. There's already an apocalypse unfolding for many people all around the world right now. So it's hard to discuss these things, because when I give my predictions out, my predictions are highly specific. And I see a lot of people taking them out of context and trying to apply it to the whole. You can't, because there is nothing in predictive analytics that would allow me to say this is going to happen to the whole collective. Because in the history of the world, there's been nothing that's ever happened to the whole collective. Even when the Great Flood reduced about 90% of the world's population, when the vapor canopy collapsed, when the new sun calendars were created, there was about 130 to 150 years of instability. It's called the Egyptian Intermediate Period. They want to be sophisticated and try to admit that there wasn't a cataclysm, so they just call it the Intermediate Period. But during that period, cultures were just trying to rebuild. They were trying to repopulate, doing all that, and they had a boost. Yes, we've always had a boost. I don't know where it comes from, but after every great reset and cataclysm, there's a baby boom. I don't know where it comes from. So, I don't know. I don't want to get into that. In the next 18 years, some parts of the world are going to basically enjoy a false golden age. One that absolutely worships the body but corrupts the soul. Some parts of the world are going to enjoy a Sodom and Gomorrah type society, where hedonism has become the norm and everything goes, and we don't have to worry about consequences, and it's not even about spiritual development, because they're going to change the idea of what the spirit is, and to make everything acceptable. I'm not on board with that. So this Sodom and Gomorrah society is on the way. It's in the holography. It's the reason why the Western world, according to Nostradamus, the entire Western world will die. It is the second great cataclysm of Nostradamus. It's dated specifically. I show you in my videos how I used these different French scholars' research and showed the date indexes of Nostradamus. I did not make this up. He dated 2046 as the death of the Western world. Now, this is after 2040, but 2040 is not the death of the Western world. 2040 will visit massive destruction in the Far East. Totally different hemispheres, and it doesn't matter if you believe in a flat earth or of a globe model. It's still totally different areas of the world being affected 6.5 years apart from each other. But the West is going to have the most survivors. The reason is after the Phoenix event in May, and Nostradamus saw this as well, there's going to be mass migrations of people from the West going back east. East has already been destroyed. 2040. In between 2040 and 2046, there's going to be aircraft carriers, cruise ships, Cessna aircraft, 747s, everything that can get on ground and land and sea is going to pass over from the Americas into the Mediterranean. And the old world is going to be repopulated with the genetic descendants that had left thousands of years ago. Everybody's going back to the lands of nativity for the final 60 years of events that will unfold in the true apocalypse. Now, the false apocalypse will occur in the next 18 years, but it's not going to occur for everybody. You gotta understand, even when the elite operate, they always use wealthy nations as base of operations to conduct their business. Wealthy nations are what fund all these black ops and deep state programs and stuff, all these GMOs. They don't just invent money. They get it from the resources of nations that are extremely wealthy. So those are the ones that will use. And those nations that are extremely wealthy are the ones that have the greatest freedoms, even though financially they're being raped. So there's going to be different stages of development of unfolding events for different areas of the world. During the next 18 years. There's going to be areas of the world, like through every single cataclysm in the past, were unaffected. Absolutely unaffected. There has been all-out chaos and war in the Pacific, but several islands never saw a single fatality. So it's everything is more complex than what is presented to be. Even the Phoenix phenomenon will pass, and entire cities and communities won't even know anything happened. There's going to be whole civilizations, though, that will be just like the movie Night of the Comet. People who are underground will come up and look around, and they won't see any shred of evidence that humans are anywhere alive within hundreds of miles. So, yeah, it's very Phoenix phenomenon is not a singular event. I've already isolated about 12 that all occur when Phoenix appears in the sky. And I believe 100%, my friends, that in 1752, whatever that apparatus was, the Phoenix engine, the great machine in the sky, this octagonal thing that appeared in the sky, something happened, and for some reason it was visible to the 5.5% of the electromagnetic spectrum that humans can see. But then the holography was corrected and it disappeared. We're living inside technology, and technology always suffers glitches, malfunctions, but it's self-corrective. Or overseers on the outside of the construct corrected it. Whatever happened, it wasn't the only time in history that it was seen. So, having said that, something else just came into mind, because I remember another event in history that was very similar, when the sky lost its power source and people saw what was really up there. It happened over Nuremberg and other parts of Europe in the year 1561. Now, I just thought about that. 1561 minus 1752 is 191 years. That's 191 years. So 191 years. I have these little inspirational, 191 years 95.5 years times 2 is 191. So what did I just find? Hold on. We just saw 95.5 was the distance isometrically between two events that were related to 1752. So 191, hold on, guys. This is now I'm on to something. 1561 minus 1752 is 191. All right, what did I just find here? If that's the case, then 1561 plus 95.5 years is 1656. There it is. And then another 95.5 years is 1752. Wow. Another one is 1847. What happened in 1561? Do you guys remember when I posted the Nuremberg apparition that appeared in the sky in 1561? Man, that's great. I love it when these things happen. Man, I wish I had a picture of that. I got to show you guys right now what happened in 1561. You're going to know as soon as you see it. You're going to understand what I'm talking about. Grab the wrong one. This is my old tablet. I just bought a new one, but I haven't transferred all the data. I'm really behind on stuff. Okay, there's another tablet lurking around in here somewhere. Oh my God. 1561, Nuremberg. 1561, Nuremberg. There is a famous picture online. You can Google it. I can't believe how disorganized I am right now, guys. I am missing a brand new Tab 8 tablet that I was going to do all my graphics on for the future. I'm preparing to unleash about 500 videos, guys. So I'm getting everything as I can afford each piece of my studio. And like my laptop I just bought, I really couldn't afford it. But I bought it because I'm acting on faith. I know it's needed to upload all my videos to these other platforms. But that's going to have a specific function that's going to last a long time doing that. My computer is for these podcasts, and I don't want to populate it with a lot of stuff because I've already seen that it breaks my connection. It doesn't work good when I have a lot of things on my desktop. My tablet is a Tab 6, very old, and it's starting to act slow, so I got the new Tab 8. I don't know where it's at. But on my Tab 8, I have that picture. You remember the great black sphere and the red and the white orbs that block the sun? It's considered to be the great war in the sky over Nuremberg. It is the year 1561. This is the event that I was talking about. Just wait for the upload. I'll show pictures of it. I have 2 or 3 pictures from the historical record of this event as people that were eyewitnesses to it described it. And but we just found it's absolutely connected, 100% in the holography. It's connected to 1752, the great octagonal star. So, wow. I love those connections. Anyway, don't want to make this video too long because I want to do a Q&A. We've already done this for 1 hour and 45 minutes. I was a few minutes late. So I want to do Q&A. But I'm going to put all that in the upload. I will remember that. You know what? I didn't have that in my notes. Let me go ahead and write down 1561 so I can remember to add that to this notes. Everything else I can do out of my head because all I have to do is open up Chronicon. All you have to do is open up Chronicon and go to 1752, read the text, see what year it was in different calendars, and then go to that year and then follow it. Just continue the thread. Everything I said in this video, you could have done yourself, just following the thread that's in Chronicon. All of Chronicon is designed this way, to explore what events were really about. We don't need to know all the details in the historical record because what events are connected to in space-time describes what the events are that are to be perceived. This was the principal discovery that led to putting Chronicon together. It is, by all intents and purposes, a paper computer. So, I'm gonna add that to the video though. 1561, the great apparition over Nuremberg. We're dealing with the same thing. Phoenix is hidden in the sky. It's never been an intruder planet. That's what I thought back when I was publishing books. New announcement. My publisher has been busy on other projects, and so have I. And we haven't been really in communication a lot. But we just had a heart-to-heart, and Book Tree of San Diego is now going to start republishing my books, the ones that it's already published. Awaken the Immortal Within will soon be a paperback. I'm going to add some material to it because I got some new stuff that you guys like from my We Immortals playlist. But I'm also going to publish new Phoenix and new Anunnaki books, unlike the ones I've already had published on paperback. So we're going to start moving in that direction too. We're going to pretty fast. We're going to have some paperback books available. So, but remember, the goal is Chronicon. All these little things on the side, they take time because my focus is Chronicon. So, all right, I'm gonna go back through this thread. I'm really sorry I haven't been able to. I can't give a dissertation and pay attention to the chat thread at the same time. I just can't. I really can't, man. Danu, thank you. What a coincidence. Would that be any? Would you be a descendant of the Tuatha-De Danann, the people of the goddess Danu? Tribe of Dan, maybe. Blueberry, Mountain Dew Rise energy drink, pomegranate blue burst. Let me tell you something, guys. Archaix gives a full endorsement to this drink because it's got me running my mouth. All right, so 3,194 likes. I've never seen that on any of my videos. That's amazing, especially with only 984 people in attendance. I say only, but that's a good number too. That's crazy. All right. Remember, guys, I need questions in like all caps because that makes you stand out. I need the questions in all caps. For real. Thank you, Jared. You're a new name to me. Jared Satterfield. Haven't seen that name. And Kelly Lewis. New names to me. Well, welcome to the Archaix family. I know we're a little weird, but that's okay. As long as we're weird, we can keep a lot of the weirdos away. Because they'll fall up in the thread and look around a little bit and realize, holy shit, what I get myself into, and get the hell out of here. So let's go. I agree with that, Benny. I'm looking for some. I see a lot. There's a lot of activity in the chat. There, guys. I just don't see any all caps that are addressed to me. Maybe I'm not far. Maybe I'm not far enough down in the chat. The 410 Society knows. Yes, they do know. Yes, they do know. There are people who have spent their life researching Charles Fort. I have the complete works of Charles Fort. It's about this big. It's all 4 books. It's all small print. It's deep. Noel Alexis Shaw. I'd like to see pictures of that. I don't disbelieve you. I can't disbelieve you. I'm telling you it happened. Yeah. Jason, I can't take notes fast enough, brother. You're like a computer. Thank you. Listen, when you research something and you absorb it because you believe in what you're researching, you have to understand, I don't believe everything I read. And I get this accusation a lot from people that come to my channel, especially new people that come to my channel. They're instantly triggered. Said, oh, you read all those old books. You don't have any. How do you know all that stuff's true in those old books? No, you don't understand. This is not the result of reading over 1,500 old book scientific reports. I'm talking about, man, I've read so much that it blow your mind. This isn't the result of that. This right here is the result of reading about 50 times more than what I'm holding here and editing all out because it's bullshit. This is the core material I accept as true, not the truckload of notes and materials that I've discarded because I know that they're fallacious. There's something wrong with them, but they don't compute. So if I can't see it in the arithmetic, it's bullshit to me. So yeah, we're a huge difference. But I mean, I only receive those comments from people who just really don't. There's a certain personality type that would visit someone's YouTube channel and watch one YouTube video and get triggered to be so negative. Just to be, it doesn't matter what they say, just to be so negative. Yeah, well, you're definitely not in resonance with what you're coming in contact with. So I'm very polite, but I'm to the point. Some of y'all have read my comments. Now, a lot of the comments that I have made to these people that come new to my channel, you guys can never read them because I'm patient, but I'm straight and to the point. And I address that shit. And I tell people instantly what they're experiencing. I tell them, hey man, cognitive dissonance, I understand. I was just like you, sir. But you don't ever see them because the vast majority of people that come to my channel and I respond to that negativity, they take their comment down. So over and over and over, I have spent a lot of time commenting to people only to have my comments removed when they remove their comment. It's starting to become a waste of time. So with the real negative ones, I don't even bother anymore. I just immediately block user from channel. They're more than they can still watch all my videos. They can still do all that, but nobody can read their comments anymore. And I'm gonna tell you now, there's about 30 people in the 3.5 years that I've been uploading videos. There's about 30 people that I have blocked from my channel. 10 of them alone are just for race baiting, just for the race baiting. Yeah, I'm not going to entertain that. If you don't like my conclusions, move around. There are channels that are going to show and teach you the very things that you already believe are true. Go to those channels. Don't come to Archaix with that BS. I'm not trying to hear it. Let's see. Looking for those all caps. All caps. Oh, also I need to mention this because we haven't said anything about this in this video. Every single date that I just provided for you can be shown in the rectilinear measurements scientifically conducted by Sir Flinders Petrie in the Great Pyramid. And I know this triggers a lot of people too. I get a lot of comments because I do not like going backwards, but sometimes I have to. I get a lot of comments from new guys to my channels. Hey man, what makes you think the inch is a standard of measurement that would have been used thousands of years ago in the Great Pyramid? And that's really a good question, but it comes from a position of ignorance, someone who has absolutely no idea the controversy involved in all the discoveries about the Great Pyramid. And I'm going to tell it to you right here in this video real fast. There is a granite leaf in the antechamber of the Great Pyramid that 200 years ago, researchers realized that little small measurement seems to be the standard of unit that was used throughout the entire Great Pyramid. That standard of unit is equally divided in all the measurements of the Great Pyramid. Sir Flinders Petrie's measurements were done to 1,000th of an inch. Those are the only measurements that I go by. I do not go by the corrupted measurements of David Davidson. I don't go by the corrupted measurements of Rutherford. I don't go by the corrupted measurements of Charles Piazzi Smith, John Taylor, Robert Menzies. I don't go by. I respect every one of those predecessors because they all believed in the Great Pyramid calendar. But they really couldn't show their findings or prove it to the public because they used false or erroneous chronologies. It wasn't until Chronicon was put together that I could take Sir Flinders Petrie's measurements on the Great Pyramid and overlay it and see, holy crap. Chronicon shows the holography and mathematics of all these events and how they sync to each other and how they're all related to the beginnings and endings of calendars, timekeeping systems. But it's the Great Pyramid that shows those calendars in all these measurements. Yes, I took concepts that were already formulating in human minds before I was born, and all I did was prove them. So the pyramid inch is called an inch because that unit of measurement that was found that is commiserate throughout the entire Great Pyramid just so happens to be 0.01% close to the actual British inch. The pyramid inch isn't a reference to the British inch, but it may as well be because it takes thousands of pyramid inches to see a slight difference in measurements between those of the British inch. Now, don't take my word for it. Read David Davidson's research in 1923 and 24 in his book, and it's over 600 pages, and you'll read all about the origin of the megalithic yard, 6 megalithic inches, and how many of the structures from the ancient world were all built using that standard. The fact that it just happens to be so close to the British inch just shows that the British, or the people of ancient Britain, were Stonehenge and Durrington walls and all these other structures, this massive infrastructure that was laid out in geometry. They preserved the inch from a very ancient system. It's not new. The only thing new is the metric system, and it's not commensurate with any ancient monuments in this world. So I hope that clarifies that. Yeah, Wesley, see, that is weird. That's a lot of likes and not a lot of people watching. That is crazy. Or people, it could be that people come in for 5 or 6 minutes and they realize, okay, this is deep. I'm going to come back to this later, and they just like it and move on. I don't know. I've never seen that before either. Yeah, people coming up, going. Thank you, Victoria Z. Dreamer of Sirius. Jason, what is the racial difference between Israelites and Jews? What are the modern descendants? Well, you might need me to read my Chronicon for that, because I go into a lot. I give a lot of sources in Chronicon on that. I don't want to verbalize anything for YouTube. I'm not going to do all that. But both descendants are major players in the world today. Yeah, Giovanna, I just don't believe 2040, or for whoever makes it past Schwab's Great Reset of 2030. Yeah, I'm not buying it. It's all fear mongering. You guys can remember the intelligence, because my entire history is not a colorful one. I am not proud of the things I've done. 16 and 17 years old, I was a criminal. I'm going to tell you right now, I've had 4 high-speed chases with police in my life. I even had the Tarrant County helicopter chase me. I had to ditch a Ford Ranchero, and I only got away, just like a movie, by jumping on a train. It's the only way I got away from 6 patrol cars and a helicopter. And the only reason the helicopter couldn't keep up is because the train was moving fast. It almost ripped my arms out of my sockets, and they probably thought there's no way I could have got on it. But I ran side by side with that train until I saw a ladder, and I just took a leap of faith, grabbed onto that ladder, and then the pain that ripped my sides, I thought I was going to die, especially when my whole stomach and my knees banged against the side of the train. I still held on, and then I ended up climbing up to the top. I never made it to the top because I was in too much pain and I couldn't breathe, but I just got on. I held on until I got out of the forest. Those trees hid me from the helicopter. When the train was turning miles away in Grapevine, Texas, I got off the train. But I got on the train in Richland Hills, outside Fort Worth, stayed on the train till it was in Grapevine, Texas, and I got off. That's just one incident. But I refused to go home when I got caught for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. I was 15 years old. No, I was 16. I refused to go home. It's the reason I ran away at 15 years old. I have a video about that. But the court was trying to release me to my parents. I refused. I told them the truth. As soon as I hit that parking lot, I'm going to go again. I don't know why. I've always told the truth. The truth is also kind of what put me in prison. Now, I did put myself in prison for doing something stupid, and I'm going to tell you now that you can never accuse me of being an FBI, of being CIA, being a gatekeeper. You can never. One, the quality of my research is my own. You know from listening to me that I believe what I'm telling you. But not only that, from the very beginning of my videos, what did you see? I was living in a wooden shack. What did you see in the back of those videos? You heard roosters. You heard dogs. You heard everything. I didn't have a studio. I was doing videos on a phone. Van vlogs. I'm working Paradise Rock Gardens. You see my life, the quality of my life in the past 3 years, you've seen in my videos. as it goes up. You can't accuse me of being all these, although I do get emails of people accusing me of being a gatekeeper or you know too much. Listen, I went to prison for aggravated kidnapping. I went to prison for aggravated armed robbery. I went to prison for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. I went to prison because at 17 years old, I was a violent son of a bitch. Listen, I am not proud of those years. I have assaulted people. I have done every single crime in Texas and Oklahoma except murder. I have never killed anybody. I am not proud of what put me into prison. I'm not. But I only stayed there an extra long time because they regarded me as a real bad security threat. And the reason is I refused to go home when I was 16 years old to my family. And I wasn't going back into that Southern Baptist puritanical. I hated my mother. I still dislike her today. I can't remove myself. I have forgiven her for everything, but I just can't stand her. She tried to come into my life 2 or 3 times, and it triggers me. And I go into a real dark place every time I hear her voice. Let me tell you something. I told the judge that I will never live under that roof. And he sent me to state school for 30 days to change my mind. State school is kids' prison. Kids were in there for murder, all kinds of shit. Listen, my second week there, they did a demonstration over a new security fence. And every bit of this is provable. I'm not making this up. I was so offended at this Green Beret making a mockery of this new security fence. The chain link fence went up 10 feet. Then it curved in mesh, curved in to where if you climbed up the mesh, you couldn't even get over the fence. He made a great deal in front of a show. Everybody was there. All these people, visitors were clapping, state administrators, people from the governor's office. I watched the whole thing in disgust. That night, I went to the wood shop and I made 2 handles and put a bunch of nails in them and stuff. And a few days later, I just climbed the fence and used the nails in the mesh. I got away, and for 2 days, every redneck in North Texas and their son were with shotguns and 30-06s and 410s and over and unders and pistols chasing me down through the forest. I ran away from teenage kids that were trying to kill me for 2 days. Believe me, that's how it goes. I escaped. So this happened when I was 16. So by the time that I actually get arrested as an adult, because in Texas, at age 17, you're in Texas. No matter what you do, stupid, or they're throwing you in the adult system. That's what happened to me. So I was really influenced by Joey. I'm not going to tell you his last name. Can't stand the dude until this day. But Joey really led me down. So he really led me into a situation that I didn't want to get in. We were trying to jack for a car. I was not trying to kidnap anybody. But anyway, I'm a terrible criminal. I'm a terrible criminal because every bit of this can be verified. I'm probably the only kidnapper in the state of Texas who drove his victim straight to the police department. I was so disgusted by this whole thing. But where I really effed up is I wrote a full statement of everything that had happened. And in Texas, that entire statement was used against me. Didn't even matter. Doesn't even matter if nobody presses charges. In Texas, the prosecutor picks up the case. So I'm not lamenting over my past. I would never change my imprisonment because it made me the man I am today. I would never change that. What I'm telling you is that I don't care what anybody's accusations against me is because I can prove my past. I'm no shill. I don't work for any government agency or any of that. I'm just 100% original, and I'm on a mission. Continues to, with this bull crap that I'm hearing, that I'm a gatekeeper and that I've been specifically sent to break up the truther community. I've been getting some really weird emails. Listen, send those people to this video and then tell them to go watch my first videos and you will see the development. You will. Needless to say, I'm in a better place today, and I'm in a really good mindset. So I pretty much ignore all this. But my past is part of the architecture of who I am today, and I will never deny it because it's my armor. That past protects me from the accusations. It protects me from all the BS that I'm hearing about other YouTube channels, other hosts. I'm hearing all kinds of shit, and I don't care because none of it is relevant to the Archaix material. None of it. So let's look at this chat thread, my friends. But remember, I do have predictions. I have a predictions. A lot of you don't. There isn't a lot of people watching these. I have a playlist which is predictions playlist. You guys might want to check that out. I'm not taking anything away. I have some really strong predictions about 2022. Now, I made a lot of predictions in the beginning of 2021 that you would think haven't come to pass yet. But you need to really analyze where we're at today compared to where we were at then in February 2021. How the media has changed too. How many stars have fallen since February 2021. When things unfold in long periods of time, they lose their the ability of humans recognition is lost the more time is linearly stretched out. Because it's been so long since I did some of those predictions videos, people don't really realize, damn man, those things are really coming true. They have come true. So I made a lot of predictions about big tech being broken up, huge losses in faith of big tech, how huge shifts in the demographics of users of certain big tech companies would completely collapse and migrate to other platforms because people lose faith in them. What is going to happen to the news? Now let me tell you something. Nobody was talking about the ratings of ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, BBC, and all these globalist news agencies. No one was talking about how people had lost faith in them and how their viewerships were in the nothings in February of 2021. No, but by February of 2022, look what had happened to all of them. Everything I said was true. They're being supported by the money of these great big GMOs because they're not being supported by viewership because they don't have any. There are news outlets on YouTube that get 10 times more viewers than ABC does. So yeah, the mainstream media is being paid for by something else. It's not being paid for by viewerships at all. Yeah, but believe me, I got Trump predictions. Republican conservative predictions. I have major predictions about what's going to happen in the last 4 or 5 months of 2022. Yeah, go to my predictions videos, see what's happened and what hasn't happened. Draw your own conclusions. Carl Strainer, is the Anunnaki guarding the Ark of the Covenant? And what do you think of Von Daniken's research, book Chariots of the Gods? I've read about 12 Von Daniken books. I like Von Daniken. Doesn't mean I agree with all his conclusions, because I am of the opinion that all the extraterrestrial Anunnaki activity, everything comes from underground and under the ocean. It does not come from the sky. The sky is a fixed boundary, and it's never been penetrable. We've never been able to escape from the sky, but we can go down, and many people and cultures and civilizations have gone down. In the Von Daniken's research is phenomenal. His conclusions I disagree with, just like Zecharia Sitchin. Zecharia Sitchin was very good at deception because he could itemize real and true archaeological facts and translations and put all this out, and then he could insert the little deceptions that the Rockefeller Institute wanted him to put in there. Yes, the greatest lies are always told in an admixture of truth. It's the only way to make them believable. So Von Daniken is wrong. There are no extraterrestrial species, Anunnaki, aliens, UFOs don't come from the sky. They come in and out bodies of water, and they come in and out holes or caves in the ground. UFO activity is mostly underground. Yeah, I'm not buying none of that. They want you to look up so you don't look down. Haha, Terra 137. I was in Giddings, Texas. I met a little Spanish girl. Back when I was in Giddings, there was girls there. Yep, girls and guys in the same prison. I used to go to the rec yard all the time to go meet this little girl on the rec yard in Giddings, Texas. We were both kids, but yeah, she was a handful. Little Hispanic girl, had a fiery mouth, and I used to talk to her all the time because she was actually a personality. Personality sells to me. So her little personality was, she had stabbed somebody, and her little personality was, you better not mess with me. I know I'm petite and I know I'm pretty as hell, but I'll stab you. That was her whole personality. And I befriended her after a while. She used to think I hated her, but because I was always making fun of her. But we were just kids. I was 16. She was 16 or 15, one of them. Sad, man, how they just throw away kids into state schools. Looking for a question. Looking for a question. Jason, is it possible living Anunna are not compatible with our current biosphere? Okay, look, we have tradition. So among the oldest traditions is that there was a paradise area where the gods were, and that they had to use threats to keep the outside, like Adam and Eve. Now, when the outsiders rebelled, those that were inside the contained area, the Edens, which means a fortified area, they could only threaten conditions. This is a really big giveaway. This means that these old records that we have are conveying that whoever created the current avatar for humans, they themselves had an invested interest in those humans being able to operate on the surface without impediment. They could only control them by threat because they themselves could not go out on the surface. Those Edens weren't open to the sky. They were underground. And I have addressed this in many of my presentations. The history of the world is of a superior species living underground that for some reason cannot come to the surface or won't come to the surface. So they control by misinformation and by threat, but they themselves cannot physically actually go up there unless the biosphere is returned back to the conditions that are good for their own genome. So I hope that answers your question. My Anunna files goes into a lot of that. El Payaso Ali. Man, I don't know, man. Jason, do you know your life path number? You add all the digits of your date of birth and reduce them to one number. Unless, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't really follow any of those systems. I don't know. Pushkin Castle. One of my son's schools has Mossad security. He got past it twice. They had to do extra security for kids to get in. Yeah. I believe that. I am no victim, Cheryl Bailey. I am no victim. And Pamela, I agree with that. You got to break free or die trying, because that's what it's all been about. Red Bull vodka. Gypsy 2007 question: why are your tattoos not jail-style tats? They are done by a true artist. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. In Texas prison, I was in maximum security. It's not like minimum or medium. In maximum security, the officers don't mess with us for having tattoo guns. We have tattoo shops. We can go to somebody's cell and lay down, and they can just do all kinds of art. All this was done in Texas prison. Every bit of this. All my artwork. I had a huge mastodon elephant here. You can't really see it that good, but I was working on my motorcycle right here. Look, it's good artwork, but you can tell it's jailhouse. So all this big burn mark, that's because I was working on my motorcycle and I accidentally touched the tailpipe. Tailpipe so hot, took the skin off me instantly. But no, all my tattoos, everything that I got, 100%. I have a full armor suit on my on my whole upper body, and every bit of this. Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And I don't mean that. I don't mean to be disrespectful or rude, but the greatest tattoo artists I have ever found are not in the free world. They are men that all they do all year around for 30 years while they're in prison is tattoo. And you're not going to find anybody in the free world. I know guys in prison that will tattoo portraits of your whole family on the back of your head, and it will be superior to anything you've seen in the free world. Yeah, you need to research Texas prison. Maximum security has every drug, every vice, and every basically right, privilege, and immunity that you can find in the free world. Maximum security is not like minimum and not like medium. Maximum security officers are there to do their jobs. Now, there is some differences between different maximum security units, and there's always differences in which years you were there, because all units are a reflection of the warden and the major who are running that unit. So, yeah, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. 100% of all my artwork is from Texas prison, and I show pictures of it. But the reason my work isn't blue like that is because there are two different types of ink that are found in Texas prison, and I refuse to use the homemade ink. The homemade ink is what you see that turns real blue. And these guys get out of prison, they got these old blue tattoos. That's not me. All my entire body was done twice. First was when the tattoos were first put on in different pieces, and then all basically put together in one pattern from my feet all the way up to my neck, all the way to the back of my neck, everywhere. Now, the second time I had everything done was on Eastham. It was the prison that's famous for Bonnie and Clyde. I was on Eastham for a while. And when I was on Eastham, I used to lay out every day and just let this guy. It took him about 4 months, but for a couple hours every day for about 4 months, he just leisurely went over all my tattoos with Black Cat Free World ink that I ordered through the craft shop. I wasn't in the craft shop. They would never let me in the craft shop because I have what's called a 3G affirmative finding, meaning to prison administrators, I was the guy who was going to pick up a weapon and do something to you. So you have to understand, things on paper always look worse than bad. I'm really a laid-back guy and was almost the entire time I was in prison, and only got wired up when it was necessary. I don't victimize people. I have, matter of fact, I have the opposite of the bully syndrome. Most of the times I got in trouble because I don't like bullies, and I never really gave a damn about personal consequences. You know, a lot of guys don't want to fight in prison because they know they're going to lose their rights, privileges, and immunities, and they're going to go to another custody level. But I was already at the bottom. So if somebody got out of line, I let them know real quick. I said, hey, check this out. I live over here on 8 block. I live on 8 block on close custody, man. It says, if you want to continue to run your mouth, man, I'm going to open up a bunk for you, which basically meant I'm going to beat your ass right here and now. So both of us get in a fight. We both get in trouble. I'm going back to where I live anyway. But he's going to lose everything and come back here. So this is what happened. I mean, prison's very dynamic. It's very, very different environment than what you're used to. Don't believe everything you see on television. I mean, prisons are different. There are no 2 prisons that I've been to that are the same. They're so different. So anyway, like I said, it has a lot to do with who's running the prison. And wardens never stay more than 3 to 5 years on a unit. So when a warden leaves, a new warden comes in, and what do? Just like a president, they bring all the people they're familiar with, all the people that they like. So the temperament of the warden is the temperament of the prison population. And a lot of wardens in prison, they just laid back, don't give a damn. As long as you don't climb that fence, not gonna have any problems. So anyway, you're wrong about my tattoos. My tattoos are not professional. But they're better. They're way better. Let's see. Oh, by the way, what I was telling you about Eastham is I laid out for about 4 months, a couple hours every day, and I had every thing done on my body again with something that no tattoo artist in the free world will do, a single needle gun. Single needle guns hurt way worse than free world tattoo guns. Tattoo guns have shade bars and treble bars. In the free world, a tattoo gun has 3 needles or 5 needles or 7 needles. That does not hurt near as bad as a single needle. A single needle cutting into you hurts way worse than having 3 needles punch into you at the same time. And they're absolutely, in many states, single needle tattoo guns are illegal. You can't use them. So, but I had a single needle done over my entire body because I wanted that detail. I wanted that exquisite detail, and I was willing to go through the pain to get it. See, I'm looking for. Yeah, I know, Shauna, I know. I got to ignore the haters. You're right. I have wasted a lot of time. And Santos Bonacci really made a good remark one time about that, because he said he wasted a lot of his life arguing with the knuckleheads, and it got him nowhere. And I should have listened to him too. I haven't really done it. I don't engage in arguments. I'm not attacking anybody on YouTube. I'm not doing that. It's But I have in the comment section engaged people that I should have never engaged. I should have either ignored it, deleted their comment, or what. Now, some people think I'm deleting their comments. I'm not. I got a list of like 15 words now. If you use any of these words, YouTube will not let you comment on my channel. It'll go straight to the censored section and give me an option. I can go in there and look and see if I want to go ahead and allow it. I hardly ever go in there and look. But yeah, I have like 50. I have a filter, because I'm trying to protect my channel. I also have It's not just the words, trigger words that will get your comment deleted, but I also have every single 100% of my videos are marked not for children. I do that for a reason, because not that I'm worried about children seeing them. I don't really have anything bad on my channel, but it just helps me with because YouTube is hypersensitive to any videos that you mark that are eligible for children. I'm just not going to go there. So that's another reason why my videos don't get a real wide footprint on YouTube. YouTube doesn't share a lot of my videos for that reason. They're starting to, but yeah, you'll notice that YouTube channels that are marked for children, yeah, they get a lot of subs quick. Let's see. Thank you, Christine. Our world is not what you think, guys. Dream work. Jason, we need a real Grand Canyon history. Any books or references? Listen, the establishment has gone into overdrive, making sure that no data will be leaked about what was found in the Grand Canyon. I can't tell you. I'm not an expert on it. All I can tell you is that in the year 1909, the newspaper called the Phoenix Gazette released an astonishing article with pictures that spread like wildfire to other newspapers around the world. And that was that some guys had photographed and found a subterranean complex hidden in the Grand Canyon, and they found Egyptian-styled artifacts, armor, weapons, furniture, all kinds of stuff. That period of time was very dangerous because the Smithsonian was already an intelligence agency that was destroying artifacts all across North America. We don't know a lot, but it did surface into print in 1909 in the Phoenix Gazette. Yeah, you're just not going to get any. I can't invent information, and it's the reason why you can't find a lot of information about it. Andrew Amaya, hey Jason, can we get any info about what the moon might possibly be? Andrew, you are very new to my channel, my brother. I will say real quickly that the optics that we're presented with, one surface of the moon that gently rolls by, the phases of the moon in juxtaposition to where the sun is supposed to be located, they provide those light phases. We're looking at a hologram that's hiding something else. You can go into my videos for more details on that. If our world is not what you think it is, you can best believe that the moon isn't either. I have read, Richie, I have read Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. It is fantastic. It is absolutely packed full. If it wasn't for that book, okay, look, here's what you need to know about some of these authors that put together these fantastic collections of histories, and they cite all these sources that we can't find today. Let me tell you why. I released a video recently that explains that the greatest libraries in the world, they're not lost, they're underground. They're being protected through the resets. And new versions of older books pop up after 1764, the Phoenix deal, after 1902. I don't know how long this has been going on, but these great libraries aren't at the Vatican, they're underground. And the elite have been preserving this information, or a branch of the elite have been preserving this information. Remember, I have told you guys that from everything that I see, there are two main groups of the elite, and they are not allied. Now, this Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire belongs with another collection of books, such as, this is what it tells me, to have put together Gibbon's research, which, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about multiple volumes in very small print of a 1,000-year period of history that is so detailed and meticulous, citing hundreds of sources and authors. It is dry reading, but it's history. It tells me that we had someone in the past had access to all this material and the time without interruption to do it, because it would have required at least one whole lifetime to have put together that much research and do it. I read The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, and it's a lot more than that. The book is packed with historical material. It tells me that somebody was underground, sequestered away in a library without interruption, able to do all this. And what the decline and fall of the Roman Empire is just like the Bible. It's not a book. It is the composition of a library that was all put together. And somebody put the name Gibbon on it, or maybe it was Gibbon who released it. But we have several books from history that do that. They provide us everything that happened in that historical period, but it's the composition itself is so meticulous and tight. It's evidence that all these sources came from different places, and it was put together by the author and then released to the public. Somebody is preserving knowledge, but they're doing it without showing the original source materials. Those are hidden away. So yeah, I got a video about that. Why is 2040 going to be so catastrophic when other Phoenix events haven't been so bad? Well, others have been worse, and some of them haven't been bad. Sometimes it's highly localized, others regional, sometimes continental, quite a few times hemispheric. Only 4 times in recorded history has it been worldwide. Now, this is going to be worldwide, not because I say so. You need to watch my Phoenix playlist to see all the prophets, prophecies, all the prophetic texts, everyone that inferred that 2040. I didn't make up the number 2040. I show you exactly where it comes from. It's on the Phoenix timeline too. It's the next one, but I didn't come up with it. Those videos will tell you all about Mother Shipton, what's real and what's not, Nostradamus, what was hidden and what wasn't. Yeah, I tell you some really phenomenal stuff. Also my Great Pyramid, yeah, all my Great Pyramid stuff shows you why one of the greatest messages to the world in the Great Pyramid was the year 2040. It's all fascinating. Don't take my word for it. Don't ever take my word for it. Go look at the data dumps. Yes, Square Peg. F the Smithsonian. Yeah. You got to take the good with the bad, man. You got to take the good with the bad. Got to take the good with the bad. All right, guys. I don't want. It's 2 hours and 34 minutes. You know I've done podcasts over 3 hours because it merited 3 hours for whatever we were talking about. This one does not. I just felt that it's time to end this one right now. Listen. This is just the first of many Archaix 2.0 presentations, studies that will be done live. But don't worry about following the details, because the upload that will follow this will provide all of that. Everything we discussed in this video, I will start with 1752 and do the exact same thing I did for you in this video and just follow Chronicon all the way through it. But I will do it so you can see it visually on the screen to show, hey, we're living in a construct. But don't take this video as evidence of that. Take it in stride. Once you've watched many videos and you see all this, that's when you can make these type of decisions and say, hey man, you know what? I've learned something. Right now, I'm just trying to interest you. Now, below in the pinned comment and in the description box, you'll see the links to Gumroad, for Chronicon and any of my other materials. Not just Chronicon, but the things that I'm telling you now, some of you already know because you ordered them, but I have visual charts that describe all this as well, because I've gone through a lot of this and provided the visuals already. So those are there too. Those of you who have donated today during the chat, I keep seeing these little pop-ups. I can't address them fast enough. I do want to tell you, like 4Jacks, thank you. Listen, it's I just seen what you said about zombies. I'm fed up trying to bring awareness to my friends. Listen, man, you can't do anything but do you, because in doing you, you're planting seeds, and that's all you can do. Because bringing direct evidence of anything contrary to someone's paradigm when they're not vibrating on that frequency does more harm than good. But if you allow them to see your behavior based off findings that you've made, that plants a seed. You know, if somebody sees that you got a different attitude and then they ask you about that attitude and you say, well, shoot, the real reason is you know what? I learned this and I learned this. I'm on this group Archaix, man, and it used to scare the hell out of me. I used to hate this guy because he used to tell me I was going to die in 2040, and now I'm really resonating with this whole message. I understand, man, that I'm an immortal, and that in the personal, man, I got nothing to fear, and that the future is going to be awesome. But in the collective, it's going to be harrowing because most people will never make the transition. They'll never make the jump. So that's why I say all the time, Archaix is not for the many, it is for the few. And that's by design. So it's not my design, but anyway, it's 4Jacks. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your friends and family, because those who are meant to cross over, those who are meant to basically travel from dimension to dimension of awareness will do so. You can't force that. You can't make that happen. You can just be you. But I promise you, by just being you, you're going to attract other people who are resonating with you, and it's going to open up other doors and opportunities. And when those things happen, then those you've planted seeds in, friends and family, will start paying more attention. So it's the best way I can answer that, man. Don't get down by that. Don't get frustrated. None of that. Just do you, man. That's all you got. You are not responsible for anybody else in this existence. Only you. Your informed field of everything that you've ever absorbed and taken and accept as true is your armor, and people will respond to it, but it's only yours. You can't force anything on anybody else, and nor is there any spiritual obligation whatsoever to save another soul, because just thinking that you're obligated to do that means that you have no faith that the oversoul knows his own. And that's a big no-no. I'm not going to step on the toes of the big girl or the big guy, whatever it is, because they have the power to pull to themselves every personality that they seek to pull. If they're not doing that, I'm not getting in their way. And with that, I'm closing this video, guys, or I'll run my mouth all day long. But remember, today, Archaix is giving the full endorsement to Mountain Dew Rise Energy Drink, Pomegranate, Blue Burst, and I promise you, I'm not even getting paid for this endorsement. I just love it. Y'all have a good time.